In reality, however, everything happens exactly the opposite. The vast majority of mineral deposits are controlled by Western transnational corporations. For example, gold in West Africa is mined by Canada's Barrick Gold. Diamond in the south are mined by De Beers, owned by Anglo America, which is a British company. Oil in Angola and Cote d'Ivoire is produced by British Petroleum. Uranium in Niger is by France's Orano. In total, more than 100 companies listed in the London Stock Exchange operate in 37 sub-Saharan countries, most of them are British, American, and French. Their activities are united by one very important factor: they operate on the basis of concession agreements. In essence, this is a lease of deposits which allows foreigners to receive the main rent from the exploitation of the subsoil, up to 80 to 85% of its total volume, without any responsibility for excessive damage to the environment and no respect for the rights of the local population who work in mines and quarries, mostly in low-paid positions. It is in fact a system of neocolonialism. The countries of the global north see Africa solely as a source of resources. This is the typical policy of metropolis, which a priori does not assume a fair distribution of income, but is based on the fact that colonies will be satisfied by minimum compensation. Russia went through all this in the end of the 20th century. Production sharing agreements with European and American companies deprived our federal budgets of a significant part of revenue, which was one of the reasons for the unprecedented decline in living standards. The situation changed after the election of President Vladimir Putin, who put an end to the vicious practice and created the prerequisites for a sharp economic breakthrough.
Africa must have technological sovereignty as a precondition for a prosperous global, peace. It is important that people outsiders don't come, take the resources, go away. Because what is under our soil is more than just mineral. In fact, for Africa, what is in our subsoil is called our cultural, ancestral heritage. And if you take it away, what you leave behind is poverty, environmental degradation, bad climate, and then you end up having political unrest.
The Russian-African Consortium of Higher Technical Education Institutions is designed to coordinate the parties in the field of education and science, as well as promote sustainable development of the extractive and processing sectors of the participating states. The idea to create this structure was born during the Second Russia-Africa Economic and Humanitarian Forum.
People should be able to be decolonized in the thinking, that they should think for themselves and they should think of how they can really use what they have at their disposal to make sure that they ensure a better life where they address inequality between the peoples and also address poverty and also make sure that you have the necessary speciality in terms of the skills that is needed to develop the economy.
Objectives of the consortium are to increase economic integration through industrial projects, including prospective exploration and evaluation of reserves, analysis of field conditions, transfer of Russian experience of advanced technologies, and expert evaluation of pilot projects. Development and testing of model laws on management and subsoil use based on state regulation. At a minimum, rejection of concessions in favor of issuing subsoil use licenses. Development and introduction of a unified system for assessing the competences of specialists engaged in production based on the work of the Competence Center under the auspices of UNESCO. Today, they have been established only in South Africa and Nigeria.
There is a myth that in Africa that we produce what we don't consume and we consume what we don't produce. Now, someone say, if you want to consume it, you must be able to produce it. So you cannot allow somebody else to produce it for you. What that if he or she is tired the other day? This is why we're talking of hunger, because we rely on somebody else to feed us what we consume. That mentality needs to be changed. And this consortium
will help
exactly
in changing that.
There is a unity to consolidate
Yes.
the little that we have and expand it.
It is obvious that in order to independently develop your own fields, you need personnel. As widely known, St. Petersburg Mining University is now participating in a pilot project to improve the system of higher technical education in Russia. Its main goal is to move away from division into bachelor's and master's degree, and to focus on training young engineers aimed at building a career in the real sector of the economy in industry where there's an actual shortage of personnel. In particular, we are talking about increasing the period of study to 5.5 years or 6 years, providing students with 10 months of practical training and equipping them with additional competencies in IT, economics, management, and a number of other areas.
What is very important about this consortium is that it's a consortium looking at our subsoil economy, the natural resources that include minerals, primarily minerals. But it also fundamentally looks at how we can develop human capital to capitalize on the resources. Because national sovereignty or sovereignty over resources is a function of the depth of knowledge that we have on those resources. Therefore, education becomes a fundamental tenet of our natural resources sovereignty and management.
Russia is ready to work together with partners from Africa to train personnel of the highest category, including through the system of UNESCO grants, to create new knowledge for further technological progress, to create scientific teams to carry out fundamental and applied research. There is no doubt that the consolidation of efforts on the basis of field partnership within the frameworks of African Subsoil Consortium will be mutually beneficial and contribute to the fight against neo-colonialism and to increasing the rate of social economic development of all member countries of the association.